Hello everyone and welcome to Its Current Year. This is the first multiplayer replay that we're going to have on the channel. This is a game I played on the recent beta against von Liechtenstein. It is a Norsca versus Wood Elves matchup here, so we'll run through the armies just quickly. First, on the Norscan side with von Liechtenstein. He has taken some Skin Wolves, some Ice Hounds on both flank with the Beasts of Tashnar over here. Marauder frontline, pretty stock standard. The Icehorn Marauders, a couple of units of Marauder Champions, shielded infantry, reasonably good against him, against Wood Elves. Some Javelins in the back here. Wulfrik the Wanderer, who looks like has just taken Seafang and Hunter of Champions. Famir Balefiend of Shadows with Melkoths and the Pendulum. Melkoths is a great spell against Wood Elves to slow their mobility game down, help you sort of in that side of the game a little bit. Some Warhounds in the back. I wasn't originally aware of them, even though they're not actually hidden at the start of the game, but they weren't a huge factor. Over for me, the Wood Elves, we've got Big Boy Durthu here, taking the Sword of Death, as well as Transformation of Kedon and Flock of Doom. A Branch Wraith here with Awakening of the Wood and Earthblood for some heals, and then we've got the box formation of Eternal Guard. So we have the ROR Eternal Guard here, the Winterheart Guard, good unit, unbreakable. Basically, this is just a holding force. It holds around Durthu. It's a reasonably good fighting prowess, but the Wardens of Sithral, mainly important because they have the Armor Sundering. If I can get the tooltip to just hold over here. You know what Armor Sundering does. So Armor Sundering will be handy at taking down, if they have armored Skin Wolves, obviously with its combination with anti-large, but also the Marauder Champions here in the front row. Then we just have three of the regular Eternal Guard with shields with some chevrons pumped into them because I did have some money left over. Over here in this corner, just down in the gully, we have the Wild Hunters of Kurnos and Wild Riders, so my damage dealing sort of mobility, and then pretty much almost, I would say, a staple of Wood Elf play are the Gladiators with Hagbane tips. Obviously with the poison effect, also magic damage that can, it's only really relevant in some matchups. So those are the armies. We'll get into the game and I'll run you through it. So we get a few opening volleys here. They're on fire at will, obviously. We move the Wild Riders up around the flank here, making use of the terrain. Likewise, I'm moving these guys through here. Now, he does know where I am because these guys aren't actually hidden. I'm pretty sure everything else is hidden in the forest here, even Durthu. And I'm figuring he will have something here. And as you see, I'm pretty happy to take this engagement. Take the charge, the shock value with the regular Wild Riders. Get in there with the Wild Hunters of Kurnos. That's going to be a really, really favourable engagement for me. High damage dealing, anti-large here on the Wild Riders of Kurnos, and you see how fast these Skin Wolves just absolutely evaporate. I go for the rear charge here, basically just to get the morale debuff, and as you see there, bang, shattered straight away, and these guys will get chased off into the white line. So we have obviously his hounds just sitting up here. We'll keep tabs on them, but they come into play a little bit later. Obviously chase them off with the Wild Hunters. They won't fire away. He does go for a Seafang here, I believe, to try and put some damage into me. I think that actually got cancelled at the last moment there. Moving up the Hagbane tip Wild Riders to the flank here, because I want to get some damage into these guys. The Marauder Hunters with Javelins here are basically, outside of these Skin Wolves, the only thing that can really reliably put damage into Durthu, besides maybe Wulfrik himself. But that's a fight that I can probably miss if I want. Seafang going down there, whiffs a little bit, and I'm just posturing here. I'm trying to get these guys sort of baited into an attack order so that I can then come up and lap around with these guys. This is, seeing what he has here, I know nothing there really scares me. I know what he's got at this stage. I'm more than happy to take that fight in the in the woods there, because I don't suffer any really debuff even on Durthu. I've got these guys committed. It may come at the cost of one of my Glade Riders. These guys have also taken a bit of fire from the Javelins, I think, but again, you'll see here, splitting these guys off. I'm happy to take this fight just with the shock damage. I can pull out. I'm keeping tabs here on the Ice Wolves. And again, the Wild Hunters of Kurnos just absolutely buzzsawing through those Skin Wolves, getting them caught off really easy, and I don't actually even lose these guys. I see these guys make a little movement, so I pull them out. Again, I'm keeping all my assets here together, imbuing poison damage. We see over here in the front line, the Marauders are clashing in. These guys here, the Winterheart Guard, they will hold forever. They've taken an absolute beating, but they will fight to the last. And I'm just sort of drip feeding in my stuff here. I'm getting some melee attack buffs from the branch growth here in the front line. I think that is so there's the sort of Daith going down, so this will obviously debuff. You'll see here on the Marauder Champions, debuffing their armor, dealing a little bit of damage. I summon a Feral Manticore here, hangs in the air for a while. Basically, I'll be using that to try and get Terror buffs. Over here, I've pretty much cleaned up the Javelins. These guys are running off. They're not really a big threat to me anymore. The Ice Wolves have caught up to my Glade Riders, but with the fact that they are a large unit, and the Wild Hunters of Kurnos, they're not wrong for this fight either. A good nice pendulum down from my opponent there, from von Liechtenstein, going through the front row. But you see, really, it's only the Marauder Champions left in the front row. These guys have been tattered. He's left his hands out here. He probably needs to get them in. An Awakening of the Wood just to do some buff damage. I decided I didn't really need to use the money on the heals here. We've cleaned up the Javelins. We've got these guys going off here. Need to bring these guys back to the fight, but they'll be back in soon. Really, the only hope he has of getting back into the game here is through Wulfrik the Wanderer, who's mucked up in spears. He's not going to really like this, and has also getting attacked by the summoned Manticore here. The Wild Riders I bring back in to try and just collapse into the back rank here and get the morale debuff and break the champions off. And I'm obviously feeling pretty good about this. The Wild Hunters are back. I'll probably try and get them around on Wulfrik, or maybe I think I'll try and go after the Balefiend here after a little while. The Hagbane Tip Blade Guard are just imbuing their poison, just getting a few shots off. I'm feeling pretty good, like I said, about how the game's going at this point. Durthu gets Hunter of Champions, but it's pretty much elementary at this stage. Wulfrik's on his last leg. We've got this blob here fighting the Wardens, but they pretty much hold out to the death as well, given how good their leadership is. I can afford to just sit back here, pepper into the rear where they don't get their shield block chance, expend my ammunition, can rally a few of my broken or my rallied troops back into the fight, and the Icehorn Marauders really here are the only semi-decent infantry left. The Balefiend will break, and that'll pretty much be all she wrote. So, looking at the armies here, not going to lie, this is a bit of a douchebag play on the behalf of the Wood Elves here, and on my behalf. It's just basically just a front line that's designed to just hold. You've got some damage dealing potential here in the Wardens, and if you engage them correctly on, in this case, the Marauder Champions, really the only armoured threat in the opposition army, they hold well, they deal damage, and they allow the other troops to get a bit of damage in. These guys are armor piercing, but the armor debuff is still reasonably significant. But the damage dealing potential here, these guys, the Wild Hunters of Kurnos, 53 kills here, 133 kills. Probably just about all of those kills are the Skin Wolves, so not a lot of value out of here. I think that was the Norsca Icehound Warhound unit that got routed off basically in the opening minutes. The Javelins just got, again, responding to the threat of the Wild Riders and the Glade Riders, got worked down pretty quickly, didn't really get any value, and as such you just see here there's nothing else in this army outside of the Wild Riders and the Hunters with Javelins that can take down Durthu. So his front line holds around him. The Branch Wraith with the Call of the Wild, I think it's called, that buffs their melee attack, sits there and and buffs them nicely. And basically the Norscan forces just break on the shields. So it is a pretty good force for dealing with Norsca. Norsca's damage dealing potential is mainly wrapped up in its things like skin wolves, Fimir, mammoths, things like this. Not necessarily going to love playing against this, but this front line, even if it's not going to do a lot of damage in particular, but the mobile assets in this force allow you just to be really nimble, even against Marauder horsemen, Glade riders and Wild riders, trade fairly effectively. You've got good map control, and you've got a solid base that basically just holds while you mop up the extremities and then get rid of charges and that kind of thing. So reasonably quick game there. Thank you very much for watching. There's going to be a few more. There will be more uploads in the future. I have a couple of other good games on. I'm currently on the beta and I'm playing against some reasonably good players. There is going to be more content coming your way on its current year. But as always, thank you for watching.